Let's move on.
Zohar for all, the part Shoftim, judges, he puts down one and lifts up another. Item 1. Judges and officers shall you appoint. In this mitzvah, commandment, he commands to appoint judges and officers, as it is written, but God is the judge, he puts down one and lifts up another. This is because the count of Mem, 40, is Yud, Yud Vav Dalet, whose sum is 20. Afterwards, but God is the judge, he puts down one, Hey Hey, of Chavaya, and lifts up another, Vav Vav de Havaya. The sentence is in 3 lines that serve as one. The right line leans towards Hesed, and judges the world with Hesed, with mercy, grace. The left line leans towards Dinim, judgments, and judges the world in Din, in judgment. The middle line decides between them and sustains the illumination of both of them. However, it lowers the illumination of the left, so it will shine only from below upwards. At that time there are no dinim in it, as he lifts the illumination of the right, so it will shine from above downwards, which is the light of Gar. It is written, but God is the judge. Ki, but, is Mem, 40, since the word Ki is 40 in Gematria. Since the sum of Yud, Yud Vav Dalet, is 20, since the letter Yud of the word Ki, in its fullness, meaning Yud, is 20 in Gematria. And with the Chaf of the word Ki, it is 40 in Gematria. Mem indicates the right line, Chesed. After the right line, implied in the word Ki, judges, God judges, meaning the left line. The right line, Ki, judges the world in Hesed, and the left line, Elokim, judges the world in Din. Following them comes the middle line, which is called this. As it is written, he puts down one. One is written as this in Hebrew. Hey, hey. The middle line, which is called this, puts down the hey, hey. The left and the Malchut puts it down, so the left in her will shine only from below upwards, only in Vak. And he lifts up another, Vav Vav, meaning he lifts the right line, which illuminates Ziranpin in Chasadim, so it will shine from above downwards in lights of Gar.
To judge, it means to bring to the middle line. Yes?
Danny from Oyod is asking, what's the difference between the incorporation of the light of Chokhmah in Chasadim to the incorporation of the light of Chasadim in Chokhmah?
He's asking us about the previous article, that the integration of Chokhmah in Chasadim, that is called the tower. Well, that's obvious, that's Gadlut. As much as Chokhmah can be integrated with Chasadim, and as much as Chasadim can be integrated in Chokhmah, he calls it Keren, a horn. So these are 2 different things, you see. A city and a tower, Keren and a tower, a horn and a tower, a field and a tower. There are many discernments here. Well, it's like we learn about the incorporation of Chasadim in Chasadim and Chasadim in Chokhmah. These are 2 totally different approaches of the scrutiny, of the in the approach, in the Kelim. What is the main thing? What is what's secondary? If I'm working in order to clothe Chokhmah in Chasadim, so I'm already working in Gadlut, in the actual Kelim of Kabbalah, of reception. This is the stage. in the entrance of Chasadim into Chokhmah, this is a totally different correction. It's like in the horn that we have in order to reach the Chokhmah of in Chasadim. Then I need schita, scrutinies, in order to extract the juice. Wine is also called the juice. He's talking about vineyard. I scrutinize all those things. Well, let's put it this way. One is katnut and the other is gadlut. Work in katnut and work in gadlut. But as a result, we always have the light of Chokhmah clothed in light of Chasadim.
Avi from Netanya is asking, what's the difference between the path from below upwards, from above downwards?
From above downwards is when I extract the light of Chokhmah. And I'm using the vessels of reception in order to extract it. Vessels of reception after the breakage of the kelim are disqualified from being used directly. Therefore, I am forbidden to extract the light of Chokhmah from above downward. However, what I'm doing is I develop the right line where I have plenty of Chasadim. I extract the left line by not using it, only to disclose Chokhmah, but not use it. And on top of Chokhmah, which is revealed, I build the middle line from below upward when I close that Chokhmah through rejection in Chasadim. Only by using Vak, or according to the Kelim, you might say that I include the Achap in Galgalta and the Naim. That means from below upward, meaning Achap is in use, but I include it in Galgalta and the Naim. Kelim of reception, the light of Chokhmah, which I clothe in the light of Chasadim, and this is a tower, Migdal. But such kind of tower that I build. Yes?
It's written because the God is a judge, and so I want to clarify what's the difference between scrutiny and judging, and is there anyone who can do that other than the person himself?
Who else is there except for man who is called a creature that can do it? That needs to resemble the Creator, and hence he uses his will to receive on the one hand and the will to bestow on the other hand, and the combination between them in order to resemble the Creator. Where do you have any other creatures who can do it?
Herein it's written God does it, not that the person does it. That's why I'm asking.
Well, man, he reaches a degree called Elohim, called Havaya. All these 10 names of the Creator, which are erasable, these main names of the Creator, the appearance of the Creator to him, Shaddai, Kel. And this is how he builds in himself, by himself, the image of the Creator, Elohim, eventually Keter, the tip of the Yud. Man does it. This is the middle line. The middle line is the judge. From Din and Rachamim, judgment and mercy, he comes to judge. To judging, we think that a judge, well, he kicks everybody, is cutting everybody off. No. He is in a neutral point, and he always chooses the maximum form of bestowal possible. Let's continue.
Article 4 deaths to some. Item 2. The subsequent mitzvah is to sentence to the sword, to sentence to strangling, to sentence to stoning, to sentence a sentence of burning. Sentencing to the sword refers to some, as it is written, "For my sword has drunk its fill in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon Edom, meaning some, Edom's minister. Item 3. In the sword of the Creator, Yud de Havaya is the head of the sword, Vav de Havaya is the corpus of the sword, Hey de Havaya are the two edges of the sword, which are, as it is written, justice, justice shall you pursue. This means that two sentences are decided, the sentence from the courthouse above and the sentence from the courthouse below. From this we know that one does not move a finger below until he is permitted from above. The Mochin de Zeranpin that appear in the unification of the Shema reading are called a sword, and the Sitra Achra is destroyed by it. The primary disclosure of the Mochin is through the bonding of Malchut in Bina, at which time Malchut receives the Kelim of Bina. If it were not for that, Zeranpin and Malchut would be unfit for any Mochin. This is why Bina and Malchut have the same letter shape, Hey, since they are the same Mochin. Therefore, they are of one form at the edge of the sword, but they are regarded as two edges, as in the name, where they are two letters Hey. The words Yud de Havaya is the head of the sword mean that Chochmah, Yud de Havaya, is the head of everything, giving the Mochin to the first Hey, Bina. However, when the Mochin are in Yud Hey, they cannot destroy the Sitra Achra, because the Sitra Achra does not cling to them, but to Vav Hey. Hence, only Vav Hey can destroy the Sitra Achra. It is written that Vav de Havaya is the corpus of the sword. This is so because Vav de Havaya is the main part of the sword that destroys the Sitra Achra. The Hey de Havaya are its two edges, and through their equivalence of form, the Mochin become disclosed. This is why one edge is not enough. Rather, it is specifically two that are required for the edge in Bina to bestow upon the edge of Malchut in a way that the Yud, the beginning of everything, gives to the first Hey, and the Vav, the corpus and the main part of the sword, receives from them, gives to the bottom Hey, and then the making of the sword is completed. It is written, justice, justice shall you pursue. The two edges of the sword are called justice, justice, and those two edges of the sword contain two dinim at once. Din from a courthouse above, Bina, and din from a courthouse below, Malchut. This is why it is written that one does not move a finger below by a judgment of the courthouse below before he is given permission from above through a courthouse above, Bina, since all the Mochin in Malchut are received from the Bina, and Malchut has nothing of her own. Item 4. The sheath of the sword, the vessel in which the sword is placed, is the name Adni. There, in Adni, there are the letters Din, since there are the letters Aleph Din in Adni. In the Shema reading, Havaya is the sword of the Creator. It is said about it, let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and the two-edged sword in their hand. In the righteous one that lives forever, there are 18 blessings. Through the righteous, Yesod de Zeranpin, the zivug of Ziranpin and Malchut de Gadlut is done. And this is the 18 blessings in the standing prayer. As it is written, "My Lord, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise." The Yesod opens the Malchut, who is called Adni. And in Yesod, the sword enters its sheath, which is Zivug Havaya in Adni, which was done by the Yesod. And the king's wrath subsided. This is so because the klipot were already rooted out by the unification of the Shema reading, and now, during the standing prayer, they no longer have a hold. The anger subsides, and the two names, Havaya, Adni, unite, meaning a combination of Havaya and Adni. Item 5. The mitzvah of sentencing to strangling. In the punctuation mark Zarka, there is a line there, and a Yud attached to it, and a line Vav that extends from the Yud. It captures the sum in Vav, as it is written, and they carried it on a pole between the two. What is the pole of that wicked sum? It is Adam, who is Yud He Vav He, which is 45 in Gematria, and with the 4 letters of Havaya, it is 49. Like the 49 letters in the 6 words of the high unification, Shema Israel, and in the 6 words of the lower unification, Blessed be the name of the glory of His kingdom forever and ever, which are Vav, Vav. This is the meaning of, and they carried it on a pole between 2, separated from them, without the Aleph in the middle, Vav, since there is no unification to the Yusitra Achra. Rather, and they carried it on a pole between 2, is Sam and his mate, the world of the separated. Item 6. The Hey grip, the rope with which he will strangle Sam, meaning the 5 fingers of the right hand and the 5 fingers of the left hand. Vav is the rope, and the Yud is the strangling of Sam and the serpent. The name Havaya is death to the Sam and the serpent, and life for Israel. This is why it is written, "See now that I am He, and there is no God with me, I kill other gods in my name, all who do not believe in me, and I make alive those who believe in me and keep my commandments." Item 7. Sentencing some to stoning is with a rock, which is Yud, and throwing it at him with 5 fingers, Hey, the arm, Vav, and the shoulder, Hey, and the thought, which is the explicit name, Yud He Vav He, throws the stone at him. Item 8. Sentencing some to burning is by wood, with which to light a fire. Happy is the body which is wood, and whose organs are trees, by which to burn fire, which is a candle of mitzvah. In each organ, to burn some through the upper divinity, Bina, with wood, which is Tiferet, and with all the trees, which are the Sfirot that are gripped to Tiferet. This is so because when fire of the High One descends on the trees of the offering, as it is written, but the stranger who comes near shall be put to death, for he will burn in the fire. It is written about it, and the fire upon the altar shall be kept burning thereby. Happy is he who grips to the tree of life, Ziranpin, with his body and with his organs, which is a candle. Each and every branch is a candle of mitzvah in his 248 mitzvot, which correspond to the 248 organs, a candle of mitzvah for each organ. Item 9. When both of them, the tree of life and the candle of mitzvah, meaning Zeir Anpin and Malchut, grip the same person, the words, "And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed." These words come true, referring to man. And some, and the serpent, and all his appointees, which are thorns, grip to the man's body and burn, while the branches of the bush, its fruits, and the leaves do not burn. This is what the Creator showed Moses. Item 10. Israel are dry wood in the Torah because they grip to the fire of a lay person and are therefore unworthy of having a miracle done to them. As soon as Moses came down to them with the Torah, the tree of life came down upon them for him, meaning Zeir Anpin, and the mitzvah, which is Malchut, the candle of the Creator, gripped them, and they will live, while the nations of the world and idol worshippers will burn in that candle. It is written about it, "Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for I am with you."
Are there any questions?
There's a question from Ecuador. They're asking, according to what's written at the end of item 3, a person so they're asking about that. If a person,
It's like I am the first when the question is awakening me. It doesn't matter how. I always have to relate to what is awakening me, that it comes from the Creator. Criticism, something good, something bad, doesn't matter how. It's clear that it is awakening from the Reshimot, from the light, which influenced the Kli and brought me through the 4 phases to a feeling that something is happening in me. And something that is happening in me gives me a feeling and the understanding in my mind and in my heart, and that means that it had reached Malchut. And then I relate to the feeling and to the thought. In a direct way, the way it comes from above, how it comes through an awakening, and then through my response, how it comes through the awakening. They let me feel how I relate to it. That means that the first time that I taste it and relate to it, it isn't considered to be a crime. They show me who I am and what I am. And then the second time, after I feel and after I understand how I relate to that feeling, I carry on by myself. That means that I act by myself. But till here it is called I am the first, meaning the Creator.
they're asking, so who determines? The Creator determines the desire and the effort to come to adhesion?
No. The desire, well, the effort to reach adhesion is my effort in the society. My desire to reach adhesion is the awakening which I receive from the society, and this is how I reach it already.
From Jerusalem, they're asking, what is the
burning flame of jealousy?
Jealousy? What is the burning flame of jealousy?
Well, we can talk about it. We talk about it every once in a while, that Bina is called the upper Gvuot, because there are limitations to it. Although it is seemingly completely Rachamim and Din, mercy and judgment, well, she has plenty of dinin, judgments, because Bina operates on Malchut not by herself. She has dinin, judgments. Rather, we're talking about her influence on Malchut. If I take her as an example, then I am in a complete restriction, in dinim. And then all her conditions that she wants to present to me, how to clothe the light of Chokhmah and Chassidim through her example, this is really a burning flame. On the one hand, within, this is the light of Chokhmah, but with very hard dinin, judgments, which come to me. Therefore, towards Malchut, these are dinim. The upper Gvura is Malchut, and the lower Gvura, it's the opposite. And well, let's continue.
Line in the middle of item 10. Upon their creation, Zon. Upon their creation, Zon were unfit for Mochin, since Malchut de Tzimtzum Aleph, Malchut of the first restriction, is upon them, and she is unfit for the reception of light. Thus, there would be no persistence to Zon and to all the worlds that extend for them. Hence, for the world to be able to exist, the emanator raised Malchut to Bina, and she became one with Bina. And then Zon became fit for the Mochin. All this is if the lower ones go by a straight path. However, if the lower ones sin, there is permission to the Sitra Achra to cling to Zon and to disclose the Malchut des Tzimtzum Aleph that exists in the Kelim de Zon. At that time, all the lights depart, and as long as the Sitra Achra is attached to this Malchut and sucks from the place of deficiency in the Zon, there is no hope that Zon will be able to receive Mochin to bestow upon the worlds. Hence, there is no other way to put to death the Sitra Achra that clung to Zon, and then it is possible for Zon to impart life upon the worlds once more. Also, those two come as one, because along with the correction of Zon to extend the life, the Sitra Achra die. When the name Havaya is corrected, meaning the Mochin de Zon, the Sitra Achra who are gripped to the place of their deficiency die. However, to put the Sitra Achra to death and to extend life to the Zon and the worlds is impossible before he is put to death in 4 deaths: stoning, burning, killing and strangling. This is so because it is not completely annulled before it undergoes those 4 deaths. And the thing is that to bring the Mochin back to wholeness, 4 types of correction are required. The first correction is to separate it from attachment to Malchut de Tzimtzum Aleph, since as long as the Sitra Achra is attached there, it is impossible to even think of correction. This is done by trapping him, since Malchut is raised to Bina, where the Bina receives the dinim of Malchut. At that time, the Sitra Achra too is drawn to suckle from the deficiency in Bina and leaves the deficiency in Malchut and parts from her, since all the hopes of the Sitra Achra are to cling to the upper degrees. And when the Sitra Achra clings to the deficiency in Bina, Malchut is lowered from Bina, and Bina becomes whole again. And the Sitra Achra parts from the grip of Bina. This correction is called Zarka, since Malchut is Zorkim, thrown up, so she will cling to Bina. It is also considered death by stoning, because Malchut is called a stone, and throwing it up to cling to Bina falls on the head of the Sitra Achra, since by that he parts from Malchut de Tzimtzum without which there is no possibility for any correction.
You understand that there is something to receive in the second restriction, but not in the first one. So I think that if I will cling to the Malchut of the second restriction, I will have something, but meanwhile he leaves Malchut of the first restriction. Later we take care of Malchut of the second restriction also, but first this. So first we tempt the vessels of reception who has nothing. So gradually we show them. What does it mean gradually? Where do the four deaths are coming from? As usual, in combinatoric from two. Malchut and Bina, Malchut Bina, Malchut in Bina, and Bina in Malchut. And also this whole game of dying, of death. This whole how to lie to the Sitra Achra, this whole deception. So Bina is concealed and Malchut is seemingly appealing that we can use the vessels of reception, but how to use them? You have to cling to Bina. This is where the light of Chokhmah is. And this is through such few actions back and forth, we reach a state that the first restriction, Tzimtzum Aleph, Malchut of the first restriction, cannot be used, and that means that she is killed in the eyes of the user. That means death. That it doesn't matter to me how it's done, because I see that it is impossible to use it on the one hand. On the other hand, I see how much that form is opposite from the Gadlut, from the importance, greatness of bestowal. How do I know about it? In that process, through that process, I also acquire the recognition of the greatness and importance of bestowal. So the deaths, they're not just to cut them off from being used, to burn them, to choke them, suffocate them, as people think. These are scrutinies and corrections of Malchut, and very big ones. Death, that means that in such a way I see that I am forbidden to use. I don't want to use it. Although I might have the opportunity, I don't use it because this form is the wrong form. And now let's move on to the next part of the lesson from Talmud Eser Sfirot.